Hey guys, look at that. Let's see. We're gonna stay. Lean slightly forward. The thing just started recording, so I'm not exactly prepared to set up, but let's see if that stays. Yahoo, let that stay, please. Alright. You see that view back there? Look how dope that is. Let me get out of the way. Yeah, there's Finger Lakes back there. That's the farm, in case y'all never seen one. And I'm Dylan, and this is a Bible. Today we're going to read the Word. Father Yahweh, bless this reading, that you get what you need, and the people get what they need, and I get what I need. And keep the bugs away, and keep the phone in its place. I know you know these things, and I'm only asking so that they make a better video for your people, and for you to get your word across. And let me be the vessel that you get the word across through with. In Yeshua's name, amen. That is not a jar of milk that I am going to be drinking out of. That is just an iPhone holder, which may or may not become the iPhone holder, but I think that we should be good there. Okay. Now, we today are in 2 Chronicles. Oh, y'all can't see the farm. That's alright, I'll show you the farm. That was just a caterpillar coming out of a tree. And let's see what happens. I think this will work, but we might have to make some adjustments if some things fly over. Woohoo! Praise El. Alright, so we are in 15:16, 2 Chronicles 15:16, and John 12. And the spirit of Elohim came upon Ezaryahu, son of Oded, and he went out to face Asa, and said to him, Hear me, Asa, and all Yehuda and Benjamin. Yahuwah is with you while you are with him. And if you seek him, he is found by you. But if you forsake him, he forsakes you. And for many days Yisrael has been without the true Elohim, and without a Torah priest, and without Torah. But in their distress they turned to Yahuwah Elohim of Yisrael, and they sought him, and he was found by them. And in those days there was no peace to one who went out, nor to the one who came in. For great disturbances were on all the inhabitants of the lands, and they were beaten down, nation by nation and city by city. For Elohim troubled them with every distress. But you, be strong, and do not let your hands be feeble, for there is a reward for your work. And when Asa heard these words and the prophecy of Oded the prophet, he strengthened himself, and removed the abominations from all the land of Yehuda and Benjamin, and from the cities which he had taken in the mountains of Ephraim, and restored the slaughter place of Yahuwah that was before the porch of Yahuwah, and gathered all Yehuda and Benjamin, and those who sojourned with them, from Ephraim and Manasseh, and Shimon, for they came over to him in great numbers from Yisrael when they saw that Yahuwah his Elohim was with him. And they gathered together at Jerusalem in the 3rd new moon, in the 15th year of the reign of Asa, and slaughtered to Yahuwah on that day 700 bulls and 7,000 sheep from the spoil which they had brought. And they entered into a covenant to seek Yahuwah Elohim of their fathers with all their heart and with all their beings. And whoever would not seek Yahuwah Elohim of Yisrael would be put to death, but from small to great, from man to woman. And they swore to Yahuwah with a loud voice, with shouting and with trumpets and with shofarot. And all Yehuda rejoiced concerning the oath, for they had sworn with all their heart and sought him with all their being. And he was found by them, and Yahuwah gave them rest all around. And he also removed Ma'akah, the mother of Asa the sovereign, from being sovereigness mother, because she had made an abominable image of Asherah. And Asa cut down her abominable image and crushed it, and burned it by the Wadi Kidron. Yet the high places were not removed from Yisrael. However, the heart of Asa was perfect all his days. And he brought into the house of Elohim the set-apart items of his father and his own set-apart items, silver and gold and utensils. And there was no more fighting until the 35th year of the reign of Asa. Asa. Okay, so pretty simple here. If you seek him, he is found by you, but if you forsake him, he forsakes you. That's how the chapter opens. And the spirit of Elohim came upon Azaryahu, son of Oded. And for many days, Yisrael has been without the true Elohim and without a Torah priest and without Torah. The true Elohim is obviously Yahuwah Elohim, and the Torah priest, not only the Torah, but the Torah priest. So they don't have God, they don't have the word, and they don't have somebody to preach the word. I'm looking at, like, I noticed these all on the way here. This is like a checkers board. Like, you see all these grids of, like, trails here? I don't know what's flying, but, like, it just seems like they're doing a lot of, like, I was seeing this the whole way here. It's just, like, filling the sky. And I don't think that Yahweh designed that. I don't think that that's a thing of Yah. And in those days there was no peace to one who went out, nor to one who came in. And they were beaten down, nation by nation. But you, be strong, and do not let your hands be feeble. And city by city, for Elohim troubled them with every distress. Elohim is troubling them with every distress. But you, be strong, and do not let your hands be feeble, for there is a reward for your work. And when Asa heard these words, and the prophecy of Oded the prophet, he strengthened himself. He got his stuff together, but he not only got his stuff together, he strengthened himself. So, like, when you pray and you get that feeling of overcoming, strengthen yourself. Like, that is you becoming hard. Like, you can decide that like that. As Yahuwah gives the power to you, you take it, you utilize it, you affect it. Chapter 16. In the 36th year of the reign of Asa, Baasha, the sovereign of Yisrael, came up against Yehuda and built Ramah to prevent anyone going out or coming in to Asa, sovereign of Yehuda. And Asa brought silver and gold from the treasuries of the house of Yahuwah and of the sovereign's house, and sent to Ben-Hadad, sovereign of Aram, who dwelt in Darmasek, saying, Let there be a covenant between you and me as there was between my father and your father. See, I have sent you silver and gold. Come, break your covenant with Baash, sovereign of Yisrael, so that he withdraws from me. And Ben-Hadad listened to sovereign Asa and sent commanders of his army against the cities of Yisrael, and they struck Ayan and Dan and Abel-Maim and all the storage cities of Naphtali. And it came to be, when Baasha heard it, that he stopped building Ramah and ceased his work. Then Asa the sovereign brought all Yehuda, and they took away the stones and timber of Ramah, and Baasha which Baasha had used for building. And with them he built Geba and Mitzpah. And at the time Hanai the seer came to Asa, sovereign of Yehuda, and said to him, Because you have relied on the sovereign of Aram, and have not relied on Yahuwah your Elohim, therefore the army of the sovereign of Aram has escaped from your hand. Were the Cushites and the Lubim not a mighty army, and with very many chariots and horsemen? And because you relied on Yahuwah, he gave them into your hand. For the eyes of Yahuwah diligently search throughout all the earth, to show himself to be strong on behalf of those whose heart is perfect to him. You have acted foolishly in this, so from now on you shall have battles. And Asa was wroth with the seer and put him in prison, for he was enraged at him because of this. And Asa oppressed some of the people at that time. And look, the acts of Asa, the first and the last, see, they are written in the book of the sovereigns of Yehuda and Yisrael. And in the 39th year of his reign, Asa became diseased in his feet, and his disease was severe. Yet even in his disease he did not seek Yahuwah but the physicians. So Asa slept with his fathers and died in the 41st year of his reign. And they buried him in his burial site, which he made for himself in the city of David. And they laid him in the bed, which was filled with spices and various kinds of ointments, mixed with the perfumer's skill, and they made a very great burning for him. And so this is interesting, because in 15, he listens to the prophet. He becomes strengthened. And then in 16, he forsakes Yahuwah, as we found out, and doesn't go to Yahuwah, but goes to his neighbor for advice and for help. And then again, doesn't go to Yahuwah to be healed. He goes to Yahuwah to be, he goes to the physicians to be healed. And so the lesson here is that Yahuwah can do anything, and we need to go to Yahuwah for all things. And there's a lot of what, you know, like, as we are people and we build community, we rely on our neighbor. We begin to love our neighbor and our brother. But ultimately, Yahuwah is our leader. Not only just our leader, but we need to look to him for everything. And like when we need something done, we don't look to our neighbor. We look to Yahuwah. And Yahuwah will bring us the neighbor. You know, Yahuwah will bring us people and resources to accomplish the task. But we go to Yahuwah first. We don't go to the people. And you'll see even, I'll hold that off for now. Yeah, this man goes from knocking down Asherim, which are basically big stone obelisks, and those are genitalia, to Ashtaroth, which is a false god, a small g god, which we are commanded to be, as we read in John 10. So this Asheroth is no better than you or me, than we are. And then there's Yahuwah, who reigns supreme over everything. And these guys are swarming through. Yeah. So not only does Yahuwah give you rest, but the 35th year of Azza is where we start to see all this coming undone. And he actually, 16:2, Asa steals gold and silver from the treasuries, brought silver and gold from the treasuries of the house of Yahuwah and of the sovereign's house, and sent to Ben-Hadad, sovereign of Aram, who dwelt in Damascus, saying, so he takes from Yahuwah to give to Ben-Hadad, the sovereign of Aram, and that's incredible. That's incredible. You don't take to Yahuwah, you give your very best, and we saw that from Dawid in 1 Chronicles 16, maybe? Not 16, 14? What I'm looking for, and I know somebody's been following along, is the time where Dawid is given the water. First Chronicles 11. And Dawid longs, 11:17. And Dawid longed and said, oh, that someone would give me a drink of water from the well of Bethlehem, which is by the gate. And the three broke through the camp of the Philistines and drew water from the well of Bethlehem that was by the gate. And took it and brought it to Dawid. But Dawid would not drink it, but poured it out to Yahuwah. And he said, far be it from me, O my Elohim, that I should do this. Should I drink the blood of these men who have risked their lives? For at the risk of their lives they brought this, and he would not drink it. This is what the three mighty men did. And yeah, so that's the kind of heart that you want to have toward Yahuwah, that you do not take blood for yourself, but you give it to Yahuwah. And even the water. And it's interesting because Bethlehem is where Jesus is born, Yeshua is born. And so him drinking from the water of Bethlehem is incredible, that he decides that he will forego the water, and he goes thirsty in order that Yahuwah is fulfilled by the blood of 3 men. 3 days Jesus is in the tomb, 3 men on the crosses, Yeshua is in the middle. Every word of this book is perfect. I just don't know it all, but Yahuwah does, and hopefully he gives me what I need to give you. Ever growing in my knowledge, praise be to him. All right, now we're in John 12, I believe. Let me grab this folded up piece of paper that I shouldn't have folded up, but I did, and put it in my pocket so that it didn't blow away. Yeah, day 152, 2 Chronicles 15:16, John 12. John 12. And then we got a lot of New Testament for the next couple days, and it should be fun. I think people, as much as they need to know the Old Testament, the New Testament is a lot more life applicable. And I'm going to drink a coffee and a Wawa and seat my Bible right there for a second, and then we're going to get into John 12. Field of yellow flowers. I don't know what they are. I'm going to show you at the end. I'm also going to show you the view better, but I think that where I got this, kind of like cockeyed, the actual view. But we'll see what happens. Okay. Yohanan Dose, John 12. Accordingly, Yeshua, 6 days before the Pesach, came to Bethania, where Eleazar was, who had died, whom he raised from the dead. So they made him a supper there, and Martha served, while Eleazar was one of those who sat at the table with him. Then Miriam took a pound of costly perfume of nard, anointed the feet of Yeshua, and wiped his feet with her hair, and the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. Then one of his taught ones, Yehuda from Kerioth, son of Shimon, who was about to deliver him up, said, "Why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor?" And he said this, not because he was concerned about the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag, and he used to take what was put in it. Yeshua then said, "Let her alone. She has kept this for the day of my burial. For the poor you have with you always, but me you do not always have." You do not have always. Then a great crowd of the Yehudim learned that he was there, and they came not on account of Yeshua only, but also to see Eleazar, whom he had raised from the dead. And the chief priests resolved to kill Eleazar as well, because on account of him many of the Yehudim went away and believed in Yeshua. On the next day, a great crowd who had come to the festival, when they heard that Yeshua was coming to Jerusalem, took the branches of palm trees and went out to meet him, and were crying out, "Hosanna! Blessed is he who is coming in the name of Yahuwah, the sovereign of Israel." And Yeshua, having found a young donkey, sat on it, as it had been written, "Do not fear, daughter of Zion. See, your sovereign is coming, sitting on the colt of a donkey." At first his taught ones did not understand this, but when Yeshua was esteemed, then they remembered that this was written about him, that they had done this to him. Therefore the crowd who were with him when he called Eleazar out of the tomb and raised him from the dead were bearing witness. On account of this, the crowd also met him, because they heard that he had done this sign. Right up in the camera. I'm going to back up a little bit. The Pharisees then said among themselves, "You see how you are getting nowhere at all? Look, the world has gone after him." And there were certain Greeks among those coming up to worship at the festival. Then these came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida of Galilee, and were asking him, saying, "Master, we wish to see Yeshua." Philip came and told Andrew, and in turn Andrew and Philip told Yeshua. And Yeshua answered them, saying, "The hour has come for the Son of Man to be esteemed. Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. He who loves his life shall lose it, and he who hates his life in this world shall preserve it for everlasting life. If anyone serves me, let him follow me, and where I am, there my servant also shall be. If anyone serves me, the Father shall value him. Now I myself am troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour, but for this reason I came to this hour. Father, esteem your name. Then a voice came from the heaven, I have both esteemed it and shall esteem it again. So the crowd who stood by and heard it were saying there had been thunder. Others said, a messenger has spoken to him. Yeshua answered and said, this voice did not come because of me, but for your sake. Now is the judgment of this world. Now the ruler of this world shall be cast out. And I, if I am lifted up from the earth, shall draw all men unto myself. Then he said, signifying by what death he was about to die. The crowd answered him, we have heard out of the Torah that the Messiah remains forever. How do you say the Son of Man has to be lifted up? Who is this Son of Man? Yeshua therefore said to them, yet a little while the light is with you. Walk while you have the light, lest darkness overtake you. He who walks in darkness does not know where he is going. While you have the light, believe in the light, so that you become sons of light. These words Yeshua spoke, and went off and was hidden from them. But though he had done so many signs before them, they did not believe in him. That the word of Yeshayahu the prophet might be filled, which he spoke. Yahuwah, who has believed our report? And to whom has the arm of Yahuwah been revealed? Because of this, they were unable to believe, because again Yeshayahu said, he has blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, so that they should not see with their eyes and understand with their heart and turn, and I should heal them. Yeshayahu said this when he saw his esteem and spoke of him. Still, even among the rulers, many did believe in him, but because of the Pharisees they did not confess him, lest they should be put out of the congregation. For they loved the praise of men more than the praise of Elohim. Then Yeshua cried out and said, he who believes in me believes not in me, but in him who sent me. And he who sees me sees him who sent me. I have come as a light into the world, so that no one who believes in me should stay in darkness. And if anyone hears my words, but does not watch over them, I do not judge him. For I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world. He who rejects me and does not receive my words has one who judges him. The word that I have spoken shall judge him in the last day. Because I spoke not from myself, but the Father who sent me has given me a command, which I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his command is everlasting life. Therefore, whatever I speak, as the Father has said to me, so I speak. And this is very well what Yeshua came to do. Speak what the Father told him to speak and do what the Father told him to do. And this is the perfection of Yeshua. Let's take it from the top. Accordingly, Yeshua 6 days before the Pesach came to Bethania where Elazar was, who had died, whom he raised from the dead. We remember that from John 11. So they made him a supper there, and Martha served, while Elazar was one of those who sat at the table with him. Then Miriam took a pound of costly perfume of nard, anointed the feet of Yeshua, and wiped his feet with her hair. And the house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. And so she does this. I believe this is prophetic from another gospel. You see the prophecy in this, but it's not highlighted here. And so when we go to that other gospel, we'll dive into that a little bit deeper. But basically, Yehuda from Kerioth, who is the one who delivers Yeshua up, Judas of Iscariot, delivers him up for 30 pieces of silver. And let's look. 'Cause, 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 should get the Bible app on the other phone, but I'm also trying to do this, like find pages in Bethpega and Bethania. Brought to you by Yahweh. And say to us, what do you think? Matthew 22:17. Then say to us, what do you think? Is it right to pay taxes to Caesar or not? But knowing their wickedness, Yeshua said, why do you try me, you hypocrites? Show me the coin of the tax. And they brought him a denarius. And he said to them, whose likeness and inscription is this? They said to him, Caesar's. And he said to them, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to Elohim what is Elohim's. And having marveled, they marveled. Having heard, they marveled and left him and went away. On that day, the Sadducees who say there is no resurrection came to him and asked him, saying, Teacher, Moshe said that if anyone should die having no children, his brother shall marry his wife and raise offspring for his brother. And there were with us 7 brothers, and the first died after he had married, having no children, left his wife to his brother. In the same way, the second also, and the third unto the 7th. And last of all, the woman died too. At the resurrection, then, whose wife of the 7 shall she be? For all had her. Okay. Slight interruption there. I did not find what I was looking for, but that was important. Okay. Basically, Judas of Iscariot tries to steal the perfume money. He says, why was this perfume not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor? Oh, here we go. Render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, render unto Elohim what is Elohim's. This perfume was for Elohim. And he said this, not because he was concerned about the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag. And he used to take what was put in it. He's like, yo, there's some Skrilla there. And even so, it's about the reception. It's about the receiving. It's constantly about the receiving with people like the Sadducees and with Judas. They're like, what can I get out of this? And he said this not because he was concerned about the poor, but because he was a thief and had the bag and he used to take what was put in it. Yeshua then said, let her alone. She has kept this for the day of my burial. For the poor you have with you always, but me you do not have always. Physically, of course, because we always have Yeshua. Then a great crowd, it says right here, you know, that this is for Elohim. Let her alone. She has kept this for the day of my burial. 9. Then a great crowd of the Yehudim learned that he was there, and they came not on account of Yeshua only, but also to see Eleazar, whom he had raised from the dead. And the chief priests resolved to kill Eleazar as well, because on account of him many of the Yehudim went away and believed in Yeshua. And so he becomes a witness. He becomes a living miracle, literally a living miracle, for Yeshua and his authority over everything. Sovereign over everything, the sovereign of sovereigns. Verse 12. On the next day, a great crowd who had come to the festival, when they heard that Yeshua was coming to Jerusalem, took the branches of palm trees and went out to meet him, and were crying out, Hoshania. Hoshiana. Psalm 118:25. We're going to read Psalm 118. Oh, give thanks to Yahuwah, for he is good, because his loving commitment is everlasting. Let Yisrael now say, his loving commitment is everlasting. Let the house of Aaron now say, his loving commitment is everlasting. Let those who fear Yahuwah now say, his loving commitment is everlasting. I called on Yah in distress. Yah answered me in a broad place. Yahuwah is on my side. I do not fear what man does to me. Yahuwah is for me among those helping me. Therefore, I look on those hating me. It is better to take refuge in Yahuwah than to trust in man. It is better to take refuge in Yahuwah than to trust in princes. All the nations surrounded me. In the name of Yahuwah I shall cut them off. They surrounded me. Yes, they surrounded me. In the name of Yahuwah I shall cut them off. They surrounded me like bees. They were extinguished like burning thorns. In the name of Yahuwah I shall cut them off. Pushing. The enemy pushed me to fall, but Yahuwah helped me. Yah is my strength and song. And he has become my deliverance. The voice of rejoicing and deliverance is in the tents of the righteous. The right hand of Yahuwah is doing mightily. The right hand of Yahuwah is exalted. The right hand of Yahuwah acts mightily. Let me not die, but live, and declare the works of Yah. Yah has punished me severely, but did not give me over to death. Open to me the gates of righteousness. I entered through them. I thank Yah. This is the gate of Yahuwah. The righteous entered through it. I thank you, for you have entered me, and have become my deliverance. The stone which the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. This was from Yahuwah. It is marvelous in our eyes. This is the day Yahuwah has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. I pray, O Yahuwah, please save us now. I pray, O Yahuwah, please send prosperity. Blessed is he who is coming in the name of Yahuwah. We shall bless you from the house of Yahuwah. Yahuwah is El, and he gave us light. Bind the festival offering with cords to the horns of the slaughter place. You are my El, and I praise you. You are my Elohim, I exalt you. Give thanks to Yahuwah, for he is good, for his loving commitment is everlasting. So Hoshiana means, blessed is he who is coming in the name of Yahuwah. Oh, it means, please save us now, salvation. Read the wrong verse, but it doesn't actually say Hoshiana, but it does say, please save us now, which is noted as Hoshiana, and probably is just like the way that the Hebrews were saying it. They just kept that in Hebrew, just like Yeshua's last words they kept in Hebrew. But one other thing I want to reiterate. Oh, give thanks to Yahuwah, for he is good, because his loving commitment is everlasting. Let Yisrael now say, his loving commitment is everlasting. Let the house of Aaron now say, his loving commitment is everlasting. Let those who fear Yahweh now say, his loving commitment is everlasting. All the way to 29, give thanks to Yahweh, for he is good, for his loving commitment is everlasting. Psalm 118. And then the other prophecy in this, it says right there, blessed is he who is coming in the name of Yahweh, Psalm 118:26, the sovereign of Israel. And Yeshua, having found a young donkey, sat on it as it had been written. Do not fear, daughter of Zion. See, your sovereign is coming, sitting on the colt of a donkey, which is Zechariah 9:9, which we are going to go to briefly. We're going to read it. We're going to burn through this chapter real quick. Zechariah 9. The message of the word of Yahweh against the land of Hadrach and Damasek, its resting place. When the eye of man and all the tribes of Israel are on Yahweh, and Hamath also borders on it. Sor and Sidon, though they are very wise, for Sor built herself a tower, heaped up silver like the dust, and gold like the mud of the streets. See, Yahweh shall dispossess her, and he shall strike her power in the sea, and she shall be consumed by fire. Ashkelon sees it and fears. Azza too, writhing in anguish, and Ekron, for her expectation has dried up. And the sovereign shall perish from Azza, and Ashkelon shall not be inhabited. And a mamzer shall settle in Ashdod. A mamzer is, I believe, one who cuts off his genitals. Shall settle in Ashdod. So I shall cut off the pride of the Philistines, and shall take away his blood from his mouth, and the abominations from between his teeth. And he shall remain, even he, to our Elohim, and shall be a leader in Yehuda and Ekron like a Jebusite. We're going to actually go to the explanatory notes. I'm pretty sure about it, but I just want to make the point that this particular copy of the Word has explanatory notes. I know there's a lot of King James that have like study units as they go along, which I like, but I don't always read the footnotes, and sometimes like I'm just looking for a definition, and it's like, well, go look in the definition section. It's like, cool. Mamzer. L-M-N-O. What is the alphabet? Yeah, Devarim, Deuteronomy 23:2. Some sources refer to this as one born of the union of a man and women of invalid marriage, such as between brother and sister, or forms of incest. Others refer to this as a woman bearing a child from a man other than her husband. Yeah, other sources say that the meaning of the word is uncertain. Okay, so it is not one who removes his own genitals. It is one born illegitimately. Did not know that, but now do. And so thank you, Yahweh, for that rebuke. And that is how we know that Yahweh loves us, because he rebukes us. And not only does he love me because he taught me that, but he loves you because he taught you that now as well. And as I said, check out the scriptures for a nice little explanatory notes section. I'm going to go to Deuteronomy 23:2 as well real quick, just to see the reference there. See, and this is where I get this, because Deuteronomy 23:1 is, he who is wounded by crushing of testicles or whose penis is cut off shall not enter into the community of Yahweh. A mamzer shall not enter the community of Yahweh. Even a 10th generation of his shall not enter the community of Yahweh. So I read this as a carry-on, but this could also be read as two separate units. And so, like listed wise. So I guess we'll look more into that when we do Deuteronomy 23. Praise Yahweh. Okay, picking up at verse 6. And a mamzer shall settle in Ashdod. Now we're going to go to verse 8. And I shall encamp around my house against an army, against him who passes by, and him who returns, so that no oppressor passes through them again. For now I have seen with my eyes. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. See, your sovereign is coming. He is righteous and endowed with deliverance, humble and riding on a donkey, a colt the foal of a donkey. The wing of the donkey, I'm imagining the foal of a donkey. Donkeys don't have wings, but I'm imagining this is like the saddle. And I shall cut off the chariot from Ephraim, and the horse from Jerusalem, and the battle bow shall be cut off. And he shall speak peace to the nations, and his rule is from sea to sea, and from the river to the ends of the earth. Also you, because of the blood of your covenant, I shall send your prisoners out of the pit. Return to the stronghold, you prisoners of the expectation. Even today I declare that I return double to you. For I shall bend Yehudah for me. I shall fill the bow with Ephraim, and I shall stir up your sons, O Sion, against your sons, O Greece, and I shall make you like the sword of a mighty man. And Yahuwah shall appear for them, and his arrow go forth like lightning. And the master Yahuwah sound with the shofar, and he shall go with the whirlwinds from the south. Yahuwah of hosts shall shield them, and they shall devour and trample on sling stones, and they shall drink, roar as if with wine, and they shall be filled like basins, like the corners of the slaughter place. And Yahweh their Elohim shall save them in that day, as the flock of his people, for the stones of a diadem sparkling over his land. For what goodness is his, and what comeliness is his. Grain make the young men thrive, and the new wine the maidens. Woo! That is beautiful right there. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout, O daughter of Jerusalem. Praise Yahuwah! Shout it to the heavens. Get on your knees and scream it. Praise Yahuwah! Praise Yahuwah! I don't know if you can hear that echo, but I literally have a whole echo up here. And it's pretty dope. Okay. And there's actually, I don't know if that's the house that I was staying at, but yeah, we'll see. Probably no big deal. Okay, John 12:16. We're back in John. At first his taught ones did not understand this, but when Yeshua was esteemed, then they remembered that this was written about him, and that they had done this to him. Therefore the crowd who were with him, when he called Eleazar out of his tomb, and raised him from the dead, were bearing witness. So people are coming to see Eleazar. There's a whole crowd there that was there with Eleazar, and basically they're, on account of this, the crowd also met him, because they heard that he had done this sign. They're basically like coming and bearing witness as well. They're backing him up. The Pharisees then said among themselves, "You see how you are getting nowhere at all? Look, the world has gone after him." So we've got one crowd here who is saying, look, this is Eleazar, the man who's been raised from the dead. And another crowd here who's saying, you see how you were getting nowhere at all? Look, the world has gone after him. Look, you can't trust this guy. The world's going after him. Everybody wants to kill him. Verse 20, and there were certain Greeks among those coming up to worship. Is that right? Yeah, okay. And there were certain Greeks among those coming up to worship at the festival. Man, do we know? Sorry, I just have to interject. Today or yesterday, Trump got convicted on 34 counts of some crap. Been in that position and beat that position, and fortunately I did not have Trump, the hatred of Trump, the masses that Trump has against him, the forces that Trump has against him, and Andrew Tate as well is in this position. And so we should all send up prayers for these men who are being attacked by these forces, because they're demonic forces and we need to fight them. And this is literally what we're fighting by reading this word together. And they need to be stopped, and these men are gonna be they're basically becoming sacrifices for this cause. So Father God will bless them. "21. These then came to Philip, who was from Bethsaida of Galilee, and were asking him, saying, Master, we wish to see Yeshua. Philip came and told Andrew, and in turn Philip told Yeshua. And Yeshua answered them, saying, The hour has come for the Son of Man to be esteemed. Truly, truly, I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone, but if it dies, it bears much fruit." This is crucial, and everybody should walk through life with John 12:24 in the middle of their mind. But I'm not going to explain it to you, because if you have eyes to see and ears to hear, that will be clear. "He who loves his life shall lose it, and he who hates his life in this world shall preserve it for everlasting life." There are sacrifices that need to be made for yourself to be ascended. "If anyone serves me, let him follow me. And where I am, there my servants also shall be. If anyone serves me, the Father shall value him." I've been waking up saying that 10 million things a day are going to try and stop me, and I rebuke you, Satan, in the name of Yeshua HaMashiach. Let nothing stop you from executing the will of the Father. Not saying whether these men are or are not, but let no thing stop you. 27. "Now I myself am troubled, and what shall I say? Father, save me from this hour. But for this reason I came to this hour." This is why I'm here. So I could gripe about it, but this is why I'm here, to take this punishment on. Praise Yahweh. "Father, esteem your name." Then a voice came from the heaven. "I have both esteemed it and shall esteem it again." So the crowd who stood by and heard it were saying, "There had been thunder." Others said, "A messenger has spoken to him." So this is a common, in Revelation we see the voice like the rolling of many waters. It's early in Revelation. Where this is, but there's context for where people who literally don't have ears to hear cannot hear it. Yeshua answered and said, "This voice did not come because of me, but for your sake." And the other people who can hear said, "A messenger has spoken to him." They don't even know. They don't even get it. "But this voice did not come because of me. It came for your sake. This is to prove to you evermore the Father and his watching over all of this at every second of every day. He's speaking to you right now. Read your word. Now is the judgment of this world. Now the ruler of this world shall be cast out. And I, if I am lifted up from the earth, shall draw all men unto myself." Right now Satan's in charge. There's a lot of bull crap going on. And when I am raised from the dead, I draw all men unto myself. The sins of the world be forgiven like that. Praise Yahweh. Thank you, Yeshua. This he said, signifying by what death he was about to die. The crowd answered him, "We have heard out of the Torah that the Messiah remains forever. And how do you say the Son of Man has to be lifted up? Who is this Son of Man?" Yeshua therefore said to them, "Yet a little while the light is with you. Walk while you have the light, lest darkness overtake you. And he who walks in darkness does not know where he is going. While you have the light, believe in the light, so that you become sons of light." These words Yeshua spoke, and went off and was hidden from them. But though he had done so many signs before them, they did not believe in him, that the word of Yeshayahu the prophet might be filled, which he spoke, "Yahuwah, who has believed our report, and to whom has the arm of Yahuwah been revealed?" So that runs through that whole section there, basically going back to where I said in 24, eyes to see and ears to hear. Who does? Who does? Do you? Does Yahuwah know you? Because of this, they were unable to believe, because again Yeshayahu said, "He has blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, so that they should not see with their eyes and understand with their heart and turn, and I should heal them." So that first Isaiah was 53:1. This is Isaiah 6:10. I am super excited to read Isaiah with you, and we're not going to go into 53:1 because that is a banger of a chapter, but we will look quickly at 6:10. We'll just read this whole thing because that seems to be the going theme here, and praise Yahweh. Isaiah chapter 6. In the year that sovereign Uzziyahu died, I saw Yahuwah sitting on a throne, high and lifted up, and the train of his robe filled the Hekal. Above it stood seraphim. Each one had 6 wings. With 2 he covered his face, with 2 he covered his feet, and with 2 he flew. And one cried to another and said, "Set apart, set apart, set apart is Yahuwah of hosts. All the earth is filled with his esteem." And the posts of the doors were shaken by the voice of him who cried out, and the house was filled with smoke. And I said, "Woe to me, for I am undone, because I am a man of unclean lips, and I dwell in the midst of a people of unclean lips. For my eyes have seen the sovereign Yahuwah of hosts." And one of the seraphim flew to me, having in his hand a live coal, which he had taken with the tongs from the slaughter place. And he touched my mouth with it, and said, "See, this has touched your lips. Your crookedness is taken away, and your sin is covered." And I heard the voice of Yahuwah saying, "Whom do I send? And who would go for us?" And I said, "Here I am, send me." And he said, "Go, and you shall say to this people, hearing you hear, but do not understand, and seeing you see, but do not know. Make the heart of this people fat, and their ears heavy, and shut their eyes, lest they see with their eyes, and hear with their ears, and understand with their hearts, and shall turn and be healed." Then I said, "Yahuwah, until when?" And he answered, "Until the cities are laid waste and without inhabitant, and the houses are without a man, and the land is laid waste, a ruin. And Yahuwah has removed men far away, and forsaken the places, be many, and the forsaken places be many in the midst of the land. But still there is a 10th part in it, and it shall again be for a burning, like a terebinth tree and like an oak, whose stump remains when it is cut down. The set apart seed is its stump." And so in John 12, we're getting, "He has blinded their eyes and hardened their heart, so that they should not see with their eyes and understand with their heart and turn, and I should heal them." So basically, Yahuwah's rebuke to them is that if you guys don't want to listen to me, I'm going to make you blind to this so you don't even know it, you don't even understand it, because now you do understand it, and you see it, and you hear it, and you know it, and you're not doing it. You're deciding not to keep it. You're actually choosing to turn from Yahweh. And he's saying, in order that you don't turn from me, you're going to lose those capabilities, and then you will decide to turn to me so that I can save you. 41, John 12:41. Yeshayahu said this when he saw his esteem and spoke of him. And this is the time where this happens, is Yeshua saves them and he becomes the Savior so that they turn back to Yahweh. Yeshua said this when he saw his esteem and spoke of him. And so Yeshayahu has seen in Yeshua. And it even says so that's confirmed in John 12:41 that Isaiah has seen Yeshua. But in Isaiah 6, it says in verse 8, "And I heard the voice of Yahweh saying, Whom do I send, and who would go for us? And I heard the voice of Yahweh saying, Who do I send, and who would go for us?" Us. Yahweh and Yeshua. The Father and the Son. Us. Just like the Elohim. 42. "Still, even among the rulers, many did believe in him," Yeshua, "but because of the Pharisees, they did not confess him." What do you got to do? Confess him with your tongue, lest they should be put out of the congregation. For they love the praise of men more than the praise of Elohim. There's the witness. Then Yeshua cried out, 44, and said, "He who believes in me, believes not in me, but in him who sent me. And he who sees me, sees him who sent me. I and the Father are one." That is John 10:30. I and the Father are one. I got excited on John 8. I knew it was 10. I should have just said that. We're not all perfect. Only Yeshua is. It is no longer I who lives, but Christ who lives in me. I believe that's Corinthians. And so we have to let God live through us. We have to let people see God in us. And live not of our own flesh, but of the Spirit that we are filled with, the Holy Spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, the Spirit of Elohim, from the beginning. Verse 46, "I have come as a light into the world, and no one who believes in me should stay in darkness. I am the way, the truth, the life." This is definitely chapter 8, verse 12. "Therefore Yeshua spoke to them again, saying, I am the light of the world. He who follows me shall by no means walk in darkness, but possess the light of life. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with Elohim, and the Word was Elohim. He was in the beginning with Elohim. All came to be through him, and without him not even one came to be." This is John 1. "In him was life, and the light was the light of men. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not comprehend it," does not overcome it. "And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness does not overcome it." Sorry, I speak fast sometimes. I'm working on it. I'm trying to slow down. But I get excited about this stuff. I really love Yahweh, and I really appreciate the Word and the ability to speak the Word, preach the Word to you. Thank you. He knows I'm blessed. He did it. "And if anyone hears my words, but does not watch over them, I do not judge him. For I did not come to judge the world, but to save the world. He who rejects me and does not receive my words has one who judges him. The word that I have spoken shall judge him in the last day. Because I spoke not from myself, but the Father who sent me has given me a command, what I should say and what I should speak. And I know that his command is everlasting life. Therefore, whatever I speak, as the Father has said to me, so I speak." This is Yeshua saying flat out that he can do only what the Father commands him. And that's the answer to everlasting life, is living in the Spirit, listening to the Father at all times, and you will see miraculous events occur, coming togethers that you have not experienced. I had a brother who was really interested in something, and he came to visit me, and Yahweh had told me to acquire this something, which was a thing that I used to have a good relationship with, and so I was easily able to get for him, and I acquired it and was performing with it, and it was enjoyed and appreciated by the brother. This was not by my will, this was not by my thinking, this was not something that I would have done, but because I followed the Spirit, it made that interaction with the brother ever more delightful. And now we're like this. Praise Yahweh. And I'm actually on his land. So I'm going to show you these yellow flowers as I promised. If you know what this is, comment down below. I don't think it's edible, but it is kind of cool. And they're very like glossy. Very glossy. They're very soft, supple. And then that's the view. I don't know if I'm messing up the camera like that, but yeah, Finger Lakes over there. A barn, cows, pasture. Praise Yahweh. Shout it to the heavens. Praise Yahweh!